Margaret had always been a vibrant woman. At 68 years old, she lived in a quiet town in Ohio, where she spent most of her time gardening, reading books, and catching up with old friends. A retired high school teacher, she had always been sharp, active, and full of energy. But lately, things felt different. One day, she found herself walking into the local grocery store when she ran into an old neighbor, someone she had chatted with many times over the years. As they spoke, Margaret realized with a sinking feeling that she couldn't remember her name. She tried to play it off, nodding and smiling, but inside, she felt a wave of embarrassment. Is this what getting older feels like? She wondered. At home, other little things started piling up. She would get tired after just a few minutes of gardening, something she used to enjoy for hours. At night, she found herself tossing and turning, unable to get a good night's sleep. Her skin felt more sensitive, bruising easily, and her eyesight wasn't as sharp as before. Conversations in noisy restaurants became harder to follow. She loved technology, but lately, even using her phone seemed more confusing than it used to be. Aging, she realized, wasn't just about celebrating birthdays or retiring. It came with unexpected challenges, things that no one had ever warned her about. She had spent years planning for retirement, but she never thought about planning for these small but frustrating changes. But Margaret wasn't ready to give in to these struggles. She was determined to find ways to adapt, to stay independent, and to continue living life on her terms. She started researching, talking to doctors, and finding practical solutions. And what she discovered changed everything. If you've ever felt frustrated with aging, whether it's forgetting names, feeling tired more often, or struggling with technology, you're not alone. This journey happens to everyone. But the good news? There are ways to navigate it with confidence. In this video, we'll explore 15 of the most common challenges seniors face as they age. More importantly, we'll talk about real, actionable solutions that can help make life easier, healthier, and more fulfilling. Whether you're experiencing these changes yourself or you have a loved one going through them, this is your guide to aging with strength, wisdom, and grace. So stay with us until the end, because aging isn't just about growing older. It's about learning how to embrace life in a whole new way. 1. Forgetting names and important details. Margaret never thought she would struggle with remembering simple things. She had spent decades as a teacher, calling hundreds of students' names, grading papers, and keeping track of lesson plans without issue. But recently, she found herself struggling to remember people's names, even though she had known for years. The other day, she ran into a friendly neighbor at the grocery store. They had spoken many times before, yet Margaret completely blanked on her name. She smiled and carried on the conversation, hoping it wouldn't be obvious, but inside, she felt a growing sense of frustration. Later that evening, she sat on her couch, trying to recall it, but the harder she tried, the more distant it felt. Memory lapses like this are common with aging, but they can still be unsettling. Forgetting names or details doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. It's often just a natural part of how the brain changes over time. As we age, the connections between neurons don't work as quickly as they once did, making it harder to retrieve information, even if it's stored in our memory. The good news is that there are ways to improve recall. One simple trick is to repeat a person's name out loud when you first meet them. Another helpful technique is association, connecting a name to something meaningful. For example, if someone's name is Rose, you might picture a rose flower in your mind. Keeping a small notebook or using a notes app on your phone to jot down important names and details can also be a lifesaver. And when memory lapses do happen, don't stress. Simply asking, "Remind me of your name again," is perfectly fine. Most people understand, and in the end, what truly matters is the effort to stay connected, not perfection. 2. Sudden fatigue and low energy. Margaret had always been active. She loved spending hours in her garden, walking through the park, and keeping up with her grandchildren. But lately, even simple tasks seemed to drain her energy. One afternoon, she started pulling weeds in her flower beds, a chore she had always enjoyed. But after just 15 minutes, she felt exhausted. She sat down on the porch, catching her breath, wondering why everything suddenly felt so much harder. Feeling more tired with age is common, but it can be frustrating. Many seniors notice that they don't have the same stamina they once did, even when their daily routines haven't changed. This sudden exhaustion isn't just in their heads. There are real biological reasons behind it. As we age, our metabolism slows down, meaning our bodies don't process energy as efficiently. Muscles weaken over time, and if they're not regularly exercised, simple movements require more effort. Additionally, lower hydration levels and vitamin deficiencies, such as low iron or B12, can contribute to feeling sluggish. The key to fighting fatigue is pacing yourself and listening to your body. Instead of trying to power through a long list of tasks, breaking activities into smaller, manageable chunks can help conserve energy. Short rest breaks throughout the day can make a huge difference. Staying hydrated is also critical. Many seniors don't realize they're drinking less water than they should. Dehydration alone can lead to tiredness, dizziness, and muscle weakness. Diet and exercise also play a major role. Eating smaller, balanced meals with plenty of protein and whole foods can help maintain steady energy levels. And while it may seem counterintuitive, staying active actually helps fight fatigue. Simple exercises like yoga, stretching, or short daily walks keep muscles engaged and prevent stiffness. Margaret started making small adjustments, drinking more water, eating better, and scheduling breaks into her day. Within weeks, she felt a noticeable improvement. Aging doesn't mean giving up energy. It just means learning how to manage it wisely. 3. Sensitive and easily damaged skin. Margaret had always taken good care of her skin, but lately, she noticed some concerning changes. Her arms and legs seemed to bruise more easily. Even from light bumps she barely remembered happening. Her skin felt thinner, drier, and more sensitive, especially after being out in the sun. One afternoon, after just a short walk outside, she noticed redness on her arms, almost like a mild sunburn, even though she hadn't been outside for long. As people age, their skin undergoes significant changes. The body produces less collagen and elastin, the proteins responsible for keeping skin firm and resilient. This makes the skin thinner, less flexible, and more prone to injury. Blood vessels also become more fragile, which is why even small impacts can lead to noticeable bruises. Additionally, the skin loses its ability to retain moisture, leading to dryness, irritation, and a rough texture. Sun exposure over the years accumulates, making aging skin more vulnerable to sun damage, age spots, and an increased risk of skin conditions. But there are ways to protect and strengthen aging skin. Moisturizing daily with creams that contain ingredients like hyaluronic acid, vitamin E, and shea butter can help lock in hydration and improve elasticity. Using sunscreen with at least SPF 50 is essential, even on cloudy days, since older skin is more susceptible to UV damage. Wearing long sleeves and a wide-brimmed hat when spending time outdoors can provide extra. Diet also plays a role. Drinking plenty of water and eating foods rich in omega-3s, such as salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, can help maintain skin hydration. Collagen-boosting foods like bone broth, eggs, and citrus fruits support the skin's natural structure. Margaret started following these steps, applying moisturizer regularly, drinking more water, and being more mindful about sun protection. Within weeks, her skin felt softer, less dry, and looked healthier. Aging skin may change, but with the right care, it can still be strong, healthy, and radiant. 4. Unexpected weight gain. Margaret had always maintained a steady weight throughout her life. She ate reasonably well, stayed active, and never had to think too much about it. But over the past few years, she noticed something frustrating. Her clothes started feeling tighter, and the number on the scale kept creeping up, even though she hadn't changed her diet or exercise habits. It didn't make sense. How could she be gaining weight when she was doing everything the same way she always had? Weight gain in older adults is incredibly common and often surprising. The reason isn't just about eating more or moving less. It's largely due to changes in metabolism. As people age, their bodies naturally burn fewer calories. Muscle mass, which plays a big role in how efficiently the body burns energy, decreases over time, especially if strength training isn't part of a regular routine. Less muscle means fewer calories burned, leading to gradual weight gain, even if eating habits remain the same. Hormonal changes also play a role. As estrogen and testosterone levels decline, the body tends to store more fat, particularly around the abdomen. Additionally, aging bodies become more insulin resistant, making it easier to gain weight from sugars and processed carbohydrates. So what's the solution? First, small adjustments in diet can make a big difference. Instead of cutting calories drastically, Focusing on nutrient-dense foods helps the body feel full and energized. Lean proteins like chicken, fish, and beans help preserve muscle, while fiber-rich vegetables and whole grains support digestion and prevent blood sugar spikes. Reducing processed foods, sugary snacks, and refined carbs can also prevent unnecessary weight gain. Exercise is just as important. While high-intensity workouts may not be realistic, low-impact activities like walking, swimming, or yoga can help maintain muscle and keep metabolism active. Strength training, even with light weights or resistance bands, is one of the best ways to prevent muscle loss and support long-term weight management. Margaret realized that she didn't need to go on an extreme diet or overexert herself at the gym. She just needed to adjust to what her body needed at this stage of life. By making small changes to her eating habits and incorporating gentle strength exercises, she started to feel more in control of her weight again. Aging bodies change, but with the right habits, they can still stay strong, healthy, and balanced. 5. Frequent doctor visits and managing health appointments. Margaret never minded going to the doctor for her yearly checkups, but lately, it felt like she was in a never-ending cycle of medical appointments. Every few weeks, she had to schedule a new visit, whether it was for a routine screening, follow-up on her blood pressure, or a consultation about joint pain. It seemed like there was always something to check, adjust, or monitor. At times, she felt like her entire life revolved around doctor visits, tests, and prescriptions. Many seniors experience this shift. As people age, medical care naturally becomes a larger part of life. Conditions like high blood pressure, cholesterol issues, arthritis, and vision problems often require regular checkups. Preventive screenings for diseases like osteoporosis, diabetes, or heart conditions also become more frequent. While these visits are important for maintaining health, they can feel overwhelming, especially when trying to juggle multiple doctors, medications, and schedules. The key to managing this new reality is organization and proactive health management. Margaret started keeping a small notebook dedicated to her health. She wrote down appointment dates, doctor recommendations, and any questions she wanted to ask at her next visit. Some of her friends preferred using their smartphones, setting reminders, and keeping track of their medications and health apps designed for seniors. Beyond scheduling, Margaret also realized the importance of staying proactive rather than reactive. Instead of only going to the doctor when something felt wrong, she focused on preventative care, maintaining a healthy diet, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep. Small lifestyle changes helped her reduce the need for certain medications and improved her overall well-being. She also learned that advocating for yourself in medical settings is crucial. If she didn't understand something, she asked her doctor for clarification. If she felt a test or medication wasn't necessary, she sought a second opinion. By taking an active role in her healthcare, she felt more in control rather than feeling like a passive patient. Doctor visits may be a bigger part of life as we age, but they don't have to take over. With the right tools and mindset, managing health can feel empowering rather than exhausting. 6. Trouble focusing and staying mentally sharp. Margaret had always been an avid reader. She loved getting lost in a good novel, solving crossword puzzles, and keeping up with current events. But lately, she noticed something unsettling. She had trouble concentrating for long periods. She would start reading a book, only to realize a few pages in that she hadn't absorbed anything. When she tried to focus on a conversation, her mind sometimes drifted, making it difficult to keep up. This experience is common for many older adults. As we age, the brain naturally slows down in processing information, making it harder to concentrate for extended periods. Changes in blood flow to the brain, hormonal shifts, and even a decline in certain neurotransmitters can all contribute to reduced mental sharpness. Additionally, distractions seem to have a greater impact, and multitasking becomes more difficult than before. The good news is that the brain, like any other muscle, can be strengthened with the right habits. One of the best ways to maintain mental sharpness is continuous learning. Margaret started taking an online class on art history, something she had always been curious about. Learning new skills or studying unfamiliar topics forces the brain to form new neural connections, keeping it active and engaged. Simple mental exercises can also help. Games like Sudoku, chess, and memory challenges stimulate cognitive function. Reading is still a great activity, but if long reading sessions feel overwhelming, Breaking them into smaller segments can make it easier to absorb information. Beyond mental exercises, lifestyle factors play a crucial role in cognitive health. Regular physical activity, even just a short daily walk, increases blood flow to the brain, which can improve focus. Sleep quality is another major factor. Poor sleep can significantly impact concentration and memory, so establishing a good nighttime routine is essential. Additionally, a diet rich in brain-boosting foods, such as leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts, and blueberries, can provide essential nutrients that support brain function. Margaret made a few small adjustments. She started incorporating brain games into her morning routine, got more intentional about sleep, and made an effort to limit distractions while reading. Within weeks, she felt a difference. She wasn't just passively aging, she was actively training her brain to stay sharp. Aging may bring changes in concentration, but it doesn't mean losing mental clarity. With the right habits, it's possible to stay engaged, curious, and mentally strong at any age. 7. Feeling lonely and socially isolated. Margaret had always been surrounded by people. As a teacher, she spent years in a lively classroom filled with students. She had a close circle of friends with whom she met for coffee, book clubs, and community events. But over time, things changed. Some of her friends moved away to be closer to their children, others became less active due to health issues, and a few, heartbreakingly, had passed away. The once busy social life she had enjoyed now felt quieter, and at times, she found herself spending entire days without talking to anyone. Loneliness is one of the most overlooked struggles of aging, yet it affects millions of seniors. Social circles shrink, children and grandchildren get busy with their own lives, and physical limitations can make it harder to go out and meet people. Research has even shown that chronic loneliness can have significant health effects, increasing the risk of depression, heart disease, and cognitive decline. But feeling lonely doesn't mean staying lonely. Margaret realized that even though some friendships had faded, there were still opportunities to build new connections. She joined a local senior activity center, where she started attending yoga classes and discussion groups. She also signed up for a volunteer program where she helped young children with reading skills, a role that not only gave her purpose, but also brought her in contact with other like-minded people. Technology also became an unexpected lifeline. At first, she was hesitant to use social media, but once her grandson taught her how to navigate it, she found herself reconnecting with old friends online. Video calls with family became a weekly routine, making her feel more involved in their lives, even from a distance. Margaret learned that meaningful connections don't always come from having a large social circle. Sometimes, it's about making an effort to engage, whether through in-person activities, online communities, or small, consistent interactions with neighbors and acquaintances. She discovered that it wasn't too late to form new friendships, and that staying socially active was just as important as maintaining physical health. Aging can sometimes feel isolating, but it doesn't have to be. By reaching out, staying involved, and embracing new ways to connect, it's possible to maintain fulfilling relationships and a sense of belonging at any stage of life. 8. Struggling with technology. Margaret had always prided herself on being independent, but when it came to technology, she often felt left behind. Her phone constantly popped up with confusing notifications, and every time an app updated, it seemed like everything looked different. Simple tasks like setting up a video call with her grandson or ordering groceries online felt frustrating and overwhelming. She hated asking for help, but sometimes it seemed like younger people assumed she should already know how to do these things. Many seniors feel the same way. Technology is advancing rapidly, and keeping up with new devices, apps, and platforms can be challenging. While younger generations grew up surrounded by digital tools, older adults often had to learn them later in life. This can lead to a sense of frustration, or even worse, avoidance. Many seniors simply give up on using certain technologies because they seem too difficult. But avoiding technology isn't the answer. In fact, embracing it can make life easier, more connected, and even more enjoyable. Margaret realized that she didn't have to learn everything at once. Instead, she started focusing on the tools that would benefit her the most. She asked her grandson to teach her how to use FaceTime and text messaging so she could stay in touch with family more easily. She also took a beginner-friendly technology class at her local community center, where instructors walked her through using her smartphone, email, and online services at a comfortable pace. There are many resources available for seniors who want to improve their digital skills. Libraries, senior centers, and even online courses offer step-by-step guides for learning how to use smartphones, social media, and even smart home devices. Margaret also learned that most modern devices have accessibility features, like larger text settings, voice commands, and simplified interfaces that can make them easier to navigate. With patience and practice, technology that once felt intimidating became a useful tool in her everyday life. Instead of feeling left behind, she felt more connected than ever. She could video call her family with ease, order groceries with a few clicks, and even join online communities where she met people with similar interests. Technology is here to stay, and while it may take time to adjust, seniors don't have to feel excluded. With the right approach, it's possible to use technology not as a frustration, but as a tool for independence, connection, and convenience. 9. Declining mobility and increased stiffness. Margaret had always been an active person. She loved going on walks in her neighborhood, bending down to tend to her garden, and even dancing at family gatherings. But recently, she noticed a frustrating change. Her knees ached more often, her joints felt stiff in the morning, and getting up from a chair took more effort than before. Tasks that once felt effortless now required extra time and caution. As people age, mobility naturally declines due to several factors. The body loses muscle mass, joint cartilage wears down, and flexibility decreases. Conditions like arthritis can make movement painful, while balance issues increase the risk of falls. Many seniors experience a cycle where discomfort leads to reduced activity, which in turn causes muscles to weaken even further. Unfortunately, avoiding movement only makes mobility worse over time. The good news is that it's never too late to improve mobility. One of the best ways to keep moving is to stretch daily. Margaret started incorporating simple morning stretches into her routine, focusing on gentle movements for her legs, back, and arms. Stretching helps keep joints flexible and reduces stiffness, making it easier to move throughout the day. Strength training also plays a crucial role in maintaining mobility. While Margaret wasn't interested in lifting heavy weights, she found that using light resistance bands and doing bodyweight exercises, like chair squats and leg lifts, helped her build strength without straining her joints. Strengthening the muscles around the knees and hips improved her balance and made everyday movements, like standing up or climbing stairs, much easier. She also learned that low-impact exercises such as swimming, yoga, and Tai Chi were great ways to stay active without putting too much stress on her joints. She joined a local water aerobics class, where she could move freely without worrying about joint pain. Small lifestyle adjustments also made a big difference. She switched to comfortable, supportive shoes, used a sturdy handrail when climbing stairs, and made sure her home was free of clutter to prevent falls. She also started listening to her body, taking breaks when needed, but never allowing herself to become too sedentary. With these changes, Margaret regained confidence in her movements. She realized that while aging might bring natural changes in mobility, staying active, stretching, and strengthening her body allowed her to continue doing the things she loved. Aging doesn't mean losing independence. It just means finding new ways to move with strength and confidence. 10. Poor sleep and restless nights. Margaret had always been a good sleeper. She used to fall asleep quickly and wake up feeling refreshed. But lately, her nights had become restless. She would toss and turn for hours, struggling to drift off. And even when she finally fell asleep, she often woke up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, unable to go back to sleep. By morning, she felt exhausted, groggy, and unmotivated to start her day. Sleep disturbances are a common complaint among older adults. As people age, their sleep cycles change, leading to lighter, more fragmented sleep. The body produces less melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep, making it harder to fall and stay asleep. Other factors, such as pain, stress, medication side effects, or frequent trips to the bathroom, can further disrupt sleep. While occasional sleepless nights are normal, chronic sleep deprivation can lead to serious health problems, including memory issues, a weakened immune system, and an increased risk of falls. Margaret knew she needed to make some changes. The first step was establishing a consistent sleep routine. She set a regular bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends, to help regulate her body's internal clock. She also created a relaxing nighttime ritual, drinking a warm cup of caffeine-free herbal tea, dimming the lights, and reading a book instead of scrolling through her phone. She learned that exposure to blue light from screens before bed can interfere with melatonin production, making it harder to sleep. So, she made a rule to avoid screens at least an hour before bedtime and switched to listening to soft music or guided meditations instead. Exercise also played a role. While vigorous activity too close to bedtime could keep her awake, a morning walk or light stretching in the evening helped improve her sleep quality. She also paid closer attention to her diet, avoiding caffeine, alcohol, and heavy meals late in the day. After making these adjustments, Margaret noticed a difference. She fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and woke up feeling more refreshed. While aging can bring natural changes to sleep, developing good sleep habits made it easier for her to get the rest she needed. A good night's sleep is one of the most important things for overall health and well-being. By making simple changes and prioritizing rest, seniors can wake up feeling energized, focused, and ready to enjoy their day. 11. Declining vision and hearing. Margaret had always taken pride in her sharp eyesight and excellent hearing. She had never needed reading glasses until recently, and she used to catch every detail in conversations, even in noisy places. But lately, things had started to change. Words on restaurant menus seemed blurrier, and she found herself holding books farther away to read. In group conversations, she sometimes struggled to catch every word, especially in crowded settings. She had even started turning up the volume on her television more than usual. These changes caught her off guard, but they weren't unusual. Vision and hearing naturally decline with age, often starting subtly before becoming more noticeable. The lenses in the eyes become less flexible, making it harder to focus on close objects, a condition called presbyopia. The risk of cataracts and age-related macular degeneration also increases, causing vision to become cloudy or distorted over time. Hearing loss is just as common. Over the years, tiny hair cells in the inner ear become damaged, reducing the ability to pick up certain sounds, especially high-pitched voices or speech in noisy environments. This can make conversations frustrating, leading some seniors to withdraw from social interactions out of embarrassment or difficulty keeping up. Margaret knew she had two choices: ignore the changes and struggle, or adapt and make life easier for herself. She scheduled an eye exam and got a prescription for reading glasses, which instantly improved her ability to read menus, books, and labels. She also learned about blue light glasses, which help reduce eye strain when using screens. For her hearing, she made small but effective adjustments. In noisy places, she positioned herself closer to speakers and avoided sitting near loud background noise. She also started looking at people's lips more when they spoke, which helped her process conversations better. Eventually, she visited an audiologist and learned that hearing aids weren't the bulky, outdated devices she had imagined. They were now small, discreet, and incredibly effective in restoring lost hearing. By addressing these issues early, Margaret was able to maintain her independence and confidence. She realized that struggling through vision and hearing problems wasn't necessary when solutions were available. Aging may bring changes, but adapting to them ensures that life remains just as rich, clear, and full of sound as ever. 12. Increased sensitivity to temperature changes. Margaret had always enjoyed all four seasons. She loved taking long walks in the crisp fall air, sitting on her porch in the summer sun, and bundling up for snowy winter mornings. But recently, she noticed that her body didn't handle temperature changes the way it used to. In the summer, even mild heat left her feeling exhausted and dizzy. She used to tolerate warm weather well, but now, she felt overheated much faster. In the winter, she struggled to stay warm, even indoors. Her hands and feet felt cold all the time, and it seemed like she needed more layers than ever just to feel comfortable. This increased sensitivity to temperature is common as people age. The body's ability to regulate temperature weakens due to changes in circulation, a slower metabolism, and thinner skin. Additionally, some medications and conditions like diabetes or thyroid imbalances can make it harder to stay warm or cool down properly. At first, Margaret found this frustrating. She didn't like feeling like she had to adjust her activities based on the weather, but rather than letting it disrupt her life, she started making a few simple changes. To handle cold weather, She layered her clothing and made sure to wear thermal socks, gloves, and a hat when going outside. Indoors, she used heated blankets and kept her thermostat at a comfortable level. She also learned that staying hydrated and eating warming foods like soups and stews helped keep her body temperature stable. For hot weather, she avoided going outside during peak heat hours and made sure to stay in the shade when possible. She wore loose, breathable fabrics and carried a water bottle wherever she went. She also invested in a small fan for her bedroom, which helped her sleep better on warm nights. Margaret also became more mindful of the signs of heat exhaustion and hypothermia, realizing that ignoring these changes could be dangerous. She knew that if she ever felt dizzy, weak, or confused due to temperature extremes, she needed to act quickly, whether by cooling down with cold compresses or warming up with extra layers. By making small adjustments, Margaret found that she could still enjoy all seasons without discomfort. While aging might make temperature regulation more challenging, it didn't mean she had to give up her favorite activities. It just meant learning how to prepare for them differently. 13. Increased irritability and mood changes. Margaret had always been known for her patience and easygoing nature. She was the kind of person who handled stressful situations with a calm mind and rarely let small things bother her. But lately, she noticed that her patience was wearing thin. A delayed package, a minor mistake at the grocery store, or even small disruptions in her daily routine would suddenly make her feel frustrated. She found herself snapping at her grandson when he interrupted her reading, something she would have laughed off before. Later, she would feel guilty, wondering why little things seemed to bother her so much more than they used to. As people age, mood changes and irritability can become more common. There are several reasons for this. Hormonal shifts, particularly decreases in estrogen and testosterone, can affect emotional regulation. Additionally, changes in brain chemistry, including fluctuations in serotonin and dopamine levels, can impact mood and make people feel more sensitive to stress. Sleep disturbances, chronic pain, and feelings of loneliness can also contribute to frustration and emotional ups and downs. Margaret knew that being constantly irritated wasn't how she wanted to feel. She started looking for ways to regain her sense of calm. One of the first things she did was pay attention to her triggers. What situations, times of day, or physical conditions seemed to bring on her irritability the most? She realized that she felt more short-tempered when she was tired, hungry, or overwhelmed by too much noise. To manage this, she made some small but effective changes. She started practicing deep breathing exercises, inhaling slowly for 4 counts and exhaling for 6, which helped her calm down in moments of frustration. She also began writing in a gratitude journal, focusing on 3 positive things each day, which shifted her mindset away from small annoyances. Another big change was getting more intentional about relaxation. She started ending her evenings with a calming activity, whether it was listening to soft music, taking a warm bath, or reading something uplifting instead of watching stressful news. Finally, she reminded herself that it was okay to feel frustrated sometimes. Aging comes with changes, and it's natural to have moments of irritability. But by recognizing the cause and actively managing her reactions, she found that she could regain control over her emotions and feel more like herself again. Aging doesn't mean losing patience or becoming grumpy. With self-awareness and small adjustments, it's possible to maintain a sense of peace and emotional balance, even when life's little frustrations arise. 14. Losing a sense of purpose after retirement. Margaret had looked forward to retirement for years. She imagined peaceful mornings with a cup of coffee, afternoons spent reading, and more time to travel or visit family. At first, it was everything she had hoped for. No more stressful work schedules, no more rushing from place to place. But after a while, an unexpected feeling settled in: emptiness. She woke up some mornings wondering, what am I supposed to do today? Without the structure of a job, the sense of purpose she had once felt seemed to fade. She missed the feeling of accomplishment that came with work, the social interactions with colleagues, and even the small daily routines that gave her a sense of direction. Though she loved her family, she didn't want to rely on them to fill all her time. She wanted something for herself. Many retirees experience this feeling. While work can be stressful, it also provides a clear sense of identity, structure, and fulfillment. When that disappears, it can lead to boredom, loneliness, or even depression. The key to a happy and meaningful retirement isn't just having free time. It's finding new ways to stay engaged and feel valuable. Margaret knew she needed to do something different. She started by exploring her interests, thinking back to hobbies she had once loved but never had time for. She signed up for a painting class at a local community center, something she had always wanted to try. Soon, she found herself looking forward to those sessions, meeting new people, and feeling creatively fulfilled. She also realized that giving back to others could provide a deep sense of purpose. She volunteered at a nearby elementary school, helping young children with their reading skills. Seeing their progress and knowing she was making a difference filled her with joy and gave her days more meaning. Another important change was setting personal goals. Just because she wasn't working anymore didn't mean she couldn't have goals to work toward. She made a list of things she wanted to accomplish, reading a certain number of books each year, learning to cook new recipes, and even planning a trip to visit a place she had never been before. By making these small adjustments, Margaret found that retirement wasn't an end, it was a new beginning. She wasn't just filling time, she was creating a life she loved, with purpose and excitement. Aging doesn't mean fading into the background. It's a time to rediscover passions, contribute to the world in new ways, and build a life that feels rich and meaningful. With the right mindset, retirement can be one of the most fulfilling chapters of life. 15. Losing independence and relying on others for help. Margaret had always taken pride in being independent. She drove herself wherever she needed to go, managed her household without assistance, and never liked the idea of depending on others. But lately, she had started to notice small changes that made daily tasks harder. Carrying groceries up the stairs felt more tiring than before. Driving at night made her uneasy. Even opening a stubborn jar lid sometimes required her to ask for help. At first, she brushed it off. But as time went on, she found herself needing assistance more often. Her daughter insisted on helping with errands, and her grandson worried about her climbing the step stool to reach high shelves. While their concern came from love, Margaret struggled with the feeling that she was losing control over her life. She didn't want to become a burden. This is one of the most difficult challenges of aging, accepting that at some point, independence may start to shift. Many seniors feel frustrated when they realize they can't do everything on their own anymore. They worry about losing dignity, freedom, and the ability to make their own choices. However, losing independence doesn't have to mean losing control. It's about adapting and finding new ways to stay self-sufficient while accepting help when needed. Margaret started changing the way she viewed independence. Instead of resisting help, she focused on staying proactive. She rearranged her kitchen so frequently used items were within easy reach. She started using a grocery delivery service instead of struggling with heavy bags. She also looked into smart home devices that allowed her to turn off lights and adjust the thermostat with voice commands. These small adjustments helped her maintain control over her daily life while making things easier. She also realized that accepting help didn't mean she was a burden. Her family was happy to assist, just as she had once taken care of them. Learning to gracefully accept support actually strengthened her relationships. She wasn't just receiving help, but also sharing time and moments with loved ones. Most importantly, Margaret focused on what she could still do rather than what she couldn't. She stayed active, engaged in her community, and continued to challenge herself physically and mentally. By staying adaptable, she found that independence isn't just about doing everything alone. It's about making smart choices that allow for a safe, fulfilling, and self-sufficient life. Aging may bring changes, but it doesn't have to mean losing control. By planning ahead, making small modifications, and accepting support when needed, seniors can continue living life on their own terms, with dignity and confidence. Conclusion: embracing aging with confidence and strength. As Margaret reflected on the changes she had experienced in recent years, she realized something important. Aging wasn't just about facing challenges. It was about learning how to adapt, grow, and embrace life in new ways. Yes, things had changed. Her memory wasn't as sharp as it once was. Her energy levels required more careful management, and certain tasks took more effort than before. But instead of focusing on what she had lost, she began to appreciate what she had gained: wisdom, resilience, and a deeper understanding of what truly mattered in life. She learned that small adjustments made a big difference. Taking notes helped her with memory lapses. Stretching and strength training kept her body mobile and strong. Staying socially engaged and exploring new hobbies filled her life with purpose and joy. Accepting help didn't make her less independent. It allowed her to continue living on her own terms, safely and comfortably. Margaret also realized that aging is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Society often portrays growing older as a time of decline, but in reality, it can be one of the most rewarding stages of life. With the right mindset and proactive choices, seniors can continue to thrive, learn, and experience deep connections with the world around them. If you or someone you love is facing the realities of aging, remember this: you are not alone. Millions of people go through these changes, and there are always solutions, resources, and support available. So, don't let aging hold you back. Let it inspire you to live smarter, healthier, and more intentionally than ever before. Make adjustments where needed, but never stop finding joy in the everyday moments. If this video has helped you, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear this message. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights on living a fulfilling life at every age. Aging is not about losing your best years. It's about discovering new ways to make them even better